Hello, everyone, and welcome to week 7 of the Finished Fast virtual book camp. Thank you again so much for joining me on this journey and for letting me be a part of making your book a finished reality. I hope you had a great 4th of July weekend if you are in the States, and had a wonderful weekend regardless wherever you are on this beautiful planet of ours. And what we are going to do today, I want to first apologize for the short notice that our guest speaker had to postpone until next week. So we will not have Brian Canavan on this week. We will have him next week. But he's going to have some great things to share next week about vulnerability and being prepared kind of for the aftermath of publishing your book. So we'll look forward to that for week 8. I would like to encourage you once again, whether you're on the call live or you are listening to the recording, to go ahead and get focused in on writing your book by turning off other programs, shutting off your phone, closing those extra tabs, and just focus on writing and what you want to create. So with that in mind, we are going to revisit our book vision meditation first to start off today. And that'll also be part of your home fun for this week, should you choose to engage in doing that. And just revisiting the book vision is about kind of getting a feel again for what you're writing, why you want to write it, and who you want to reach. It's especially good if you've reached kind of a place in the process where you may be feeling a little stuck or just need some added inspiration for those next steps. So let's go ahead and listen to our book vision meditation.
Hello, and welcome to your Finish Fast book visualization. This meditation is a few minutes of home fun and will assist you in creating a mindset that gets your book written with a sense of harmony and ease. Let's begin. Go to a comfortable, relaxing place. You may choose to sit in a chair or recline on a bed or sofa. Now, let's take 3 slow, deep breaths. Inhale. Hold for a moment, and now exhale. Feeling your mind and body begin to relax. Again, inhale. And then exhale. Last one. And inhale. And then exhale slowly. Now we are ready to start. Imagine your book is written, published, and in the hands of your ideal reader. Imagine that person needs to read the words that only you can provide. What do they look like? What is their unique story? Now, your reader has just finished reading your book at exactly the right time in their life. They are relaxing with a cup of coffee or tea and have your book in their hand and have completed the final word. As they set the book down, lean back in their chair, what do you see? What is the expression on their face? Are they smiling with renewed hope? Are there tears of joy? Or maybe a sense of gratitude? What do they feel about themselves at this moment? What do they believe is now possible? What can they do now that they could not have done prior to reading your book? Who are they thinking about that would benefit from your book? Stay with those thoughts for just a little while longer. Imagine how amazing you feel getting to witness their reaction to your book. Congratulations, you have helped change a life forever. Now take one final deep breath. Inhale. Exhale and smile. Take a few moments to write down or perhaps voice record your thoughts after experiencing your reader's reaction to and transformation resulting from your words. Thank you for your time and have a beautiful day.
All right. I hope that gets you back into the mood of why you're writing, who you're writing for, and just gives you a fresh perspective on your vision for your beautiful book. So our topics for this week are, first of all, we're going to review what to do if you're feeling stuck. And then we are going to talk about how you don't have to write alone, how to include others in your process. So, if you are feeling stuck, and we talked about this in week 5, and there's a few things that you can do if you're just not quite able to move forward in your book writing. What you first want to do if you've kind of reached that plateau or that dreaded writer's block feeling is to go back to your book plan and see what you intended to do. Review what you wanted to write about. Listen to the book vision meditation again. Just go ahead and see what you plan to do in the first place and see if there's any alterations or changes or that you want to make in your vision for your book and what your intention is. It's okay to revisit the process and to make changes as you go along. Remember, it's your book, it's your message, and you've probably grown and changed through the process of writing the book. So if you want to alter things, feel free to. It is your book. Another thing to do if you're feeling stuck is to read what you wrote out loud. There's real power in hearing your words out loud and expressing those concepts, and it really kind of helps you to see what you're saying and how it might be perceived in a different way than if you're reading it to yourself and it's still in your head versus out there in the air. So again, if you're not used to doing that, it may feel a little bit odd at first, but that's okay. Go ahead, read it out loud, talk to yourself, turn it into a speech. Do whatever it takes to help make your book be and feel even more you and more real to you. Another thing, if you're stuck on a particular word, is to use the nuance test, which is detailed in the book. And you go through different words, see what fits, see what works, look at the meanings, and really flesh out what you want to say and how you can best convey it by the word choice you use. You can also, in the theme of not writing alone, get some other people's opinions on what a word may mean to them. You may find that your unique definition of the word may vary from how others view a word. So you may find that you want to define what you mean by a particular term to really help your reader to know what you want to convey by your use of that word, especially if it's a key phrase or a word you're going to be using over and over again in your book to help them understand your unique perspective. And the other thing, if you are feeling stuck and maybe things aren't flowing, we want to talk about making sure you're taking care of yourself during the writing process. I just went on a 4-day personal retreat and had such a beautiful, relaxing time and feel so much more ready and invigorated to tackle some of the new projects I've got going. And it was a great time for me to reflect and see what I wanted to do and get more sleep. So that is one of the first things to do, is make sure you're properly resting and rejuvenating and getting as much sleep as fits your body and your body's needs for that particular time in your life. So I encourage you to evaluate these things we're going to go over briefly and just see if there's any area where you might make a small tweak, a small change that would really enhance your life. The next thing I want to encourage you to do, again, is drink plenty of water. Keep yourself hydrated. It's summer. It's hot outside, and the heat can be a little bit draining at times. So drink plenty of water. Next, eat lots of good, healthy, good-for-you foods. Only put in what's going to nourish your body and help you feel better. So if you know sugar gives you headaches, go ahead and stay away from sugar around the days you plan to be writing. Just really do what you know works for you and what's good for you. The next thing is exercising. Encourage you to exercise. Get out, walk, maybe even right before your writing session. Just get out for 10 minutes, walk around the block, and get that blood pumping, your endorphins going, and get in the mood for writing and creating. And lastly, make sure that you're enjoying the process of writing. If you are feeling just drugged down and have a lot of resistance to writing, it may be that at this time you're not enjoying it. So I want to encourage you to do what feels good to you as you go through this process, that when you write, you bring a sense of joy and excitement and life to your topics, to whatever you're writing about. One of the ways to enjoy the writing process more is to get involved and do it in a way that means that you're not writing alone. So that brings us to our second topic, which is you don't have to write alone. You can include others in the process. One of the ways is our virtual writing retreats. Our next one is coming up on July 18th. That is not this coming Saturday, but the Saturday after that. And it's, again, will be a great time to interact with others that are in the same mode of getting some writing done. You can go to the Facebook group, ask questions. There'll be recordings, so if you are not able to join at that time, you can set time aside to do it later and get as much as you can out of taking focused, longer periods of time to get some writing done, and do it in a way where there's interaction and you get to play with it a little by doing it alongside other people with similar goals. You can also do that by even meeting up with a good friend for a little half day and say, we're going to be at this coffee shop together and we're just going to focus on writing. Do something a little bit different from what you've normally done to get something done that's bigger than what you've done before. On that note, I did want to share just from my talking to our last guest expert, Coach Kira, on some exciting things that have gone on with her from writing her book, which is being enabled and empowered to increase her coaching prices just from positioning herself as an expert by writing her book, and just the transformation that's occurred and what's happened in her life and in her business from doing that. So bringing in other people, which she talked about last week, and having it be a process that isn't so lonely can really help in getting your book done. So while you may be physically writing your book alone, you can also make different choices, such as hiring a ghostwriter, working with a co-author in order to have some of the writing aspect removed from you or shared in a different way. So again, if you are in the writing process and looking for new ideas, I invite you to see where other people could fit into the writing process with you, either by joining you, by helping you to critique it, or by writing alongside with you, even though you're working on other products. So you do not have to seclude yourself during the writing process. One of the things that can be really scary for writers, for anybody really, is to present something that you've been putting your heart and soul into to somebody else. As it's really like giving somebody a piece of your soul, or letting somebody hold your newborn baby. And writing a book is a lot like your book is your baby. So one of the things you want to do is, as you're inviting other people to assist you in the process, be really, really clear on what you're asking them for. So imagine with me for a moment that you've finished a few chapters of your book, you've made a few revisions, and you're ready to hand this book, your baby, over to a trusted friend, a mentor, a colleague, or your group, and you want to get their opinion. And you're a little nervous about doing this, which is natural, but you know it needs to be done. So one of the suggestions to making this a little less daunting is to be crystal clear on what you are asking them to do with your book. So, for instance, in this scenario, you've finished about 5 chapters, and you want to ask them or be clear with them if you want them to check for grammatical errors, for your structure, for your punctuation, for all of the English side of your writing, or are you wanting to get an overall critique of the flow of the writing and how the ideas and concepts are coming together? Like, what is it you want them to do or have in mind as they're reading your book? You also want to be clear if you are looking for recommendations from them for improvements, additions, deletions. What are you really asking them to do as they're going through it? One of my clients said, I want you to put your teacher hat on and go through my work with your red marker, it up and tell me what's wrong with it. The grammar, the structure, the flow, everything. Whatever you see that you have a question about or you don't think quite fits, I want you to tell me every little detail. So if that's what you want, what you're ready for, be clear with the person you're giving it to that that's what you're asking for. If that's not what you want, then be clear about that. So tell them, no, I'm just looking to see if my chapter order is understandable and makes sense. Or I'd really like you to look at my punctuation. I know I've got some sentences that may not quite make sense to somebody else. So just go ahead and be crystal clear with them on what you would like them to do. Also, you can ask them to take notes as they're reading your book with any questions that came up for them, so that you can get an idea of what your readers may be thinking about or something you may need to expand upon or condense a little. So be really specific in what you're asking them to do. Next, when you bring other people in, I invite you to be certain of the time frame you have in mind for getting feedback back from them, and ask them if they have time to do what you're asking. So consider that their time is precious too. And some people, you may give them your book to read and they don't get back to you, or they keep putting it off, and that doesn't feel good. But asking them up front, do you have time to fit this into your schedule? It's so many pages. I would love for you to do this. Also, even offering to do an exchange of critiques with them is a great idea. So you're partnering together, again, not writing alone, and able to help them out in their writing, or maybe another project not related to writing, while they're helping you out. So consider their time. Also consider that you may not want to give them the whole book at once. You might only want to give them a few chapters if that's all you've done, or you may want to give them the book in stages at a time. Do something that is going to consider the amount of time and energy they have to put into helping you with this process. So it may be easier for them to tackle 25 pages than 150. So go ahead and think about different ways that you can bring other people in, and be open to their suggestions is the next thing I want to talk about. Because, like I said, it is like giving somebody your baby when you let them read your writing. And it's a bit hard sometimes to do that. I remember the first time I let somebody read what I had wrote. I had for school, of course, because I had to, but letting my dad read my first children's book was, oh goodness, what is he going to say, and is he going to like it, and all the stories you go through in your head. So you need to prepare yourself for their feedback, for taking what they say in a loving manner. Some people critique in a way that may feel harsh to you, or not the way you would have done it. But remember to take it from the heart that it was given from, and they want to help you. They want to see you do your best. They may have the more academic, structured mind, and they're going to go after all the little bitty things that you're not really concerned about. But however they are presenting their critique to you, keep an open mind and an open heart so that you can receive their feedback and make changes if that is what you decide to do. And I do want to emphasize that it is your book, it's your message, it's your flavor, your taste to it that you really want to bring out. So whatever somebody is saying, it is ultimately your decision and your prerogative what things you change based on what feedback you're given. You can hear it and listen and consider it, but you do not have to make the changes that they suggest. Keep in mind, it's your book, your message. Change what you feel needs to be changed. Add what you feel needs to be added. On that note, I do want to address the concept of being vulnerable. So we talked a bit about writing from the heart and going ahead and going there and saying whatever needs to be said. And that can be very hard to do and scary. But as you're letting other people read your book, consider that what you put in, if it's specific to you, it's personal, it's part of your story, it will touch people. It will reach them. And as you're doing that and letting somebody else read it, be prepared for what they may have to say about your basically bearing your soul, if that's what you're choosing to do. And keep in mind, you can put in the details that you want to put in, and they may suggest going deeper, revealing a little more. And that is up to you, how comfortable you are with doing that. But be free to go ahead and put in some of the personal things. And keep in mind, you can add to them, you can take them out, and really do what's best for you, for your book, for your message, and ultimately for the people that are going to benefit from your writing your book. So the last thing is, as you're bringing in people, friends, family, colleagues, you want to also, as you're considering their time and the effort that goes into it, consider getting professionals involved in the process with hiring or someone else that's going to make your book something that you're really proud of and you love presenting to the world. So keep in mind, more eyes is better. Even now, I've gone back and thought, oh, I could have worded that a little bit differently, and maybe just one more proofreading session. I wouldn't see that little mistake now, but those are my perfectionistic tendencies. But be free to have a few pairs of eyes read your book, and don't be afraid to hire people to help you with the process. You don't have to do it alone. Remember, your book is a part of your message, and your book is uniquely yours. So on that note, I just have one question that came in to answer for this week. And the question is, what if I started my book and it just isn't flowing? I'm not liking it, and I'm ready to just scrap it and start over. And to address that, I want to say that that is an okay place to be. And I know we've spent a number of weeks on getting focused and figuring out what you want to write and doing that. And it may feel, if you're just not quite feeling your book and you're not liking it, that was a waste of time. But it's really not, because one, as the old saying goes, practice makes perfect. So consider, is the book you started writing the book you need to complete right now? Because I do think many of us out there have a lot of books in us. So go back and evaluate. Go back to your book vision. See if it's that your vision has changed, and maybe the book you started either isn't quite the book you need to work on now, or if it's just the book needs to take a new direction. So if you change the title from what you originally thought, does that mean your book layout and what you want to include is very different from what you originally thought? So it's okay if it's not flowing, but you don't have to stop. You can go back. You can start over. You can do whatever it takes to make sure your book gets written. So don't give up. Keep going, but be open to the possibility that the book you started with or you started writing is not the book you needed to write at this moment. So, and let that be okay. You can start the process over. You can see if maybe the book that you started with is really a portion of a different book. There are many options. Check in with yourself, with your heart, with where you're going, with what you're learning, and be open to there being a difference between what you thought you were going to write and what's going to be your ultimate product. It really, truly is okay to let it evolve and become the beautiful book that you had in mind, even if it's not going quite as easily as you would have hoped. The work is worth it. Play with it, enjoy it, do your home fun, ask questions. If you're really stuck, go ahead and shoot me an email at beth@bethgayden.com, and we can do a quick session to see where we need to redirect and how we can make sure that your book is really what you want it to be. Our week 7 home front is continue the same as weeks 5 and 6 and write. The other activity is, again, revisit your vision for your book, see if you're on track, if there's changes you need to make, or if you need to think of perhaps writing a different book. Be open as you revisit your book vision to allow the book that you're supposed to be writing now to come out. Your bonus activities for this week goes along with the theme of bringing in other pen. That is to interview 1 to 3 of your ideal readers. Most likely, you know people that fit your ideal reader avatar. So ask them some questions. Just to get you started, for a few possible questions you can ask them is, what do they want to know about your topic? Another question is, what is their biggest challenge connected to your topic? And lastly, you could ask them, would they be willing to write a review when your book is finished? Because as we're going through this process, we want to think a little bit about the marketing aspect of the book, getting reviews and all that stuff, but it's not too early, even as it's being written, to get some interest by asking questions, by getting more people involved. And the second part of your bonus activity is to go ahead and dream a little bit and plan for the future, because your book is going to get written, and plan your celebration or reward that you're going to give yourself when your book is finished. So if you want to throw a party and launch your book in a big way, then start thinking about it. Start planning for your beautiful book launch. If you would like to take yourself on a little trip or go to this specific restaurant that you've been wanting to go to for months as your reward, do that. But get to thinking about the end product, the reward that you're going to give yourself, because writing this book is an amazing journey. It's an amazing gift to yourself and to others. And you deserve to be celebrated for what you're doing and what you've done. So think about the future. Think about the great rewards you're going to experience, and have fun. So enjoy this week. Write from the heart as always. And remember to be kind to yourself and others wherever they are on this journey. Thank you. Have a great week.